I have once again been watching Only for Love. I don't know what is it with this damn show. This show, I watch it, I critique it quite heavily, and then it just like a succubus sucks me right back in. So I went on another Only for Love binge starring Dylan Wang and Bai Lu. And yes, I have a lot more thoughts about it, so let's go. Hi, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off by Purple Heart podcast, where I talk to you about K-dramas, C-dramas, BTS, and so much more. I have maybe 3 previous videos about this show. You can definitely go back and watch or listen if you would like, just to get some context, and if you are curious about this show, Only for Love. This is a very warped, chaotic rom-com that oftentimes doesn't make a lot of sense. But I keep getting drawn back into it, and I am now at episode 26, and there has definitely been some plot developments in the show. Obviously, I'm going to be going into spoilers, so proceed with caution. One thing with this show, the chemistry is interesting because I feel it flares up and then it fizzles out and it flares up again and it fizzles out. Like, it's this constant roller coaster of emotion. I won't even get into the writing piece per se. Maybe I will get into the writing piece. So we have like 3 main couples that are in this show. We have the main lead couple, which is starring Dylan Wang and Bai Lu. They're the male and female lead. Dylan Wang is the cold CEO archetype. Bai Lu is the very flighty and oftentimes immature finance journalist that is in this show, and her and Dylan Wang's work often intersects, especially in the business he's in, with him being the CEO of Cloud Innovations and her wanting to get the scoop because he is this very young, handsome, thriving CEO, and they cross paths a lot within this show. And their relationship is very backwards and forwards. There is a lot of movement and you think it's going somewhere and the chemistry flares and then it kind of dies back down. Dylan Wang does something really stupid. I'm just going to refer to them as either male and female lead or their real names, okay? And he does something stupid, or he says something stupid that's slightly misogynistic, and the female lead, or Bai Lu, just kind of retreats away. I get mad and then I continue watching the madness unfold. But there are some moments within this show that I really like between the 2 of them, and I think that's why I'm incapable of dropping it. The second couple, which I would guess are the second male lead, would be, in my humble opinion, Eric, who is actually Shang Wang in The Only One, which is like one of my favorite BLs this year. And I wasn't really familiar with him prior to watching The Only One, but now that I've watched The Only One, I absolutely adore him. So I already look at his character a lot more favorably. The actress as well, the second female lead, is the best friend of the female lead, Bai Lu's character. I'm not familiar with the actress's name, sorry, but I have seen her in quite a few Chinese dramas, and she was definitely, in my opinion, a lot better utilized in Nothing But You, which stars Leo Wu, which is my main man, my main squeeze. But their relationship I thought was interesting, and they had sparks and chemistry, and they're 2 characters that are essentially quote unquote players who, now that they've met each other, they've kind of met each other's match, and they don't know what quite to do with their feelings. There's miscommunication tropes all over the goddamn place with these 2 as a couple. So their ship in itself is, I guess, problematic in a way, but I kind of root for them as well because I like seeing players be reformed and finally decide to like grow up and stop consistently just running bodies through, you know. I know that sounds extremely crude, but I like seeing reformed players actually come to grips that, you know, just going through these shallow situationships and, you know, you're free to do whatever you like. You can be liberated as much as you want. But at some point you start to feel kind of just hollow within, and then you kind of meet someone, you have this great, you know, physical chemistry with them, and then you start to grow a lot of care, but because you're so used to being the player that you can't quite cross that barrier into actual commitment and say, can I actually do monogamy right this time with this person, because I really care about them and I get upset when I don't get to see them and be with them. And that's essentially the dynamic between two of them for the entirety of the show as well. Then we have the third couple, and they're a dynamic that I typically do not root for, because it is definitely an age gap romance, and in particular the third female lead character is essentially the niece of Dylan Wang's character, and she in the beginning of the show got on my last nerve, but as she has, you know, gotten more time to show her personality, but I find not only the way the actress plays her, but the character really cute. She's very cute, and she does break up a lot of levity, or she brings a lot of levity in the show, and I think she's actually enjoyable. Now that I've watched like 26 episodes, I like her, I root for her, but the pairing with her and the third male lead, it doesn't work because he's not interested in her, and she does not take no for an answer. And I'm a stickler for consent, and I feel like when someone tells you in multitude of ways, hey man, I'm not interested in you like that, I like you as a person, I think you're lovely, but I just don't see us in that way, at least not at this time. And you're just like, well, if you only just gave me more chances, like maybe we should just go to dinner, maybe we just go to movies, can we just do this together, can we do that together? And she's one of those. She absolutely will not take no for an answer, and this storyline is essentially her wearing down the third male lead until he finally acquiesces. So she is like in full pick-me spirits in the show, and it infuriates me. Yet I root for her because I think the actress has such a sweet face, and the character is actually adorable, and she technically is interning with Bai Lu's character, and you know, you get to see that they didn't get off on the right foot, but throughout the show they have gotten a lot closer, and she actually talks to Bai Lu's character a lot like a big sister, and I just like their dynamic now, and they have this good working relationship, and they've gotten to be a lot more colloquial with one another, and their relationship has just kind of smoothed out, and it's a lot sweeter. So it's just nice to see, and I root for the character. I want her to be happy, but I know that the show intends for them to get together, but I can't help but think 26 episodes in, I feel like she's just going to be the second choice, and I don't know how the show is going to sell it to me, even though it has been trying to show little eensy teensy subtle flashes of the third male lead getting kind of jealous when he mistakenly thinks that there's another suitor for her, which happens to be the second male lead, the Shang Wang, Eric. In this equation. So it's very confusing, but there's just so many parts of the show that it's just so utterly chaotic, but it keeps drawing me back in. Like I mentioned with the main couple that we're dealing with, Dylan Wang and Bai Lu's characters, they have these times where the chemistry works, like they lead in and they have this passionate kiss, and then we don't get to actually see the result of that kiss because it's like a quick fade to black, even though it looks great. And then they'll have like a really weird exchange between the two of them, and then a kiss will happen, and it's like one of those fish lip kisses that are kind of awkwardish, and you're like, what the hell is this, right? They'll have these weird camera angles, and I think I mentioned this in my last podcast episode about this show. And it's like the camera work is just going all over the place. It's like they're trying to be like art house, kind of avant-garde type directorial style, and it's like, this is just a simple rom-com. We don't need all this flippy-dippy, who-dippy kind of camera angles. And what infuriates me is anytime that the two male leads, they're about to have like a good conversation, they're about to have, you know, some miscommunication cleared up, you know, unnecessary drama that could be that could be solved with a simple conversation will always be interrupted by a phone call. Quite literally, any emotionally tense scene between the two of them, a phone call will happen and they absolutely have to answer it at that given point, and all the tension in that scene breaks away and we continue just to move along in the story and nothing really gets talked about. And one of the big things that's kind of irksome to me, and I see this happening, is that the female lead is just quite literally incapable of being flat out honest with Dylan Wang's character. And she is lying about something that does not need to be lied about, and it's just such a basic thing. And I know it's going to be used as a crux for them breaking up, because this show has 36 episodes and we're at episode 26, and it's like a hammer being banged on scene after scene that this is going to come up again, and this simple white lie that has now snowballed into something bigger than it should have been is going to become something bigger. We also now have a new male rival on the scene. He is young, he's very arrogant, and he is going to be literally the Dark Horse. His company name is the Dark Horse, no jokes there. And he sprouts up and he shows a very obvious interest in the female lead character, and he is not backing down at all, and he has seemed to take it upon himself to make himself the direct competition between him and Dylan Wang's character. And by now, this show has already established the two of them as a couple, even though we didn't even really get a scene that actually cemented that they decided to actually date, because they're doing a lot of back and forth and back and forth. Anyways, I digress. Now this third character has popped up, and now he's going to create a love triangle situation, and he has said, yeah, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I'm going to win her heart. I know I can do it. So I'm really flabbergasted with this show. I'll be honest. I don't know what it is that keeps drawing me in. It is extremely popular rom-com, and I get it, because Dylan Wang is a nice man to look at. Bai Lu is a beautiful actress. The two of them, physically, they look immaculate together. And I do see the flares of chemistry. Like, I do see it. There are scenes where I'm like, okay. They get them flirting. And I'm like, I see it. I love it. And I think even like in episode 21, there was this really, really great scene where, you know, we were already introduced to this third character that pops up now that's going to create the love triangle between Bai Lu and Dylan Wang's characters. And, you know, this guy wants an interview with the female lead, and she's hesitant about this because she already knows his intentions, that he's been flirtatious with her, and he clearly is rubbing shoulders with her, not only just for wanting to get one over Dylan Wang's character, but there's an attraction there, and she's uncomfortable with it because she's still keeping this relationship with, you know, Dylan Wang a secret. And she knows that he can be very jealous and possessive, and she just wants to create boundaries within the relationship. And yet she still, as a professional, wants to land this interview because he is a hot young thing. His company is now going to be a direct competitor with Cloud Innovations. They are able to siphon someone from their company as well that was integral to them advancing. And it was like this big thing. So it would be really hot scoop and a great interview. And she was hesitant about that. And then she does tell, you know, Dylan Wang, she does tell him about what was going on. And he essentially tells her that you should do it because professionally this would be great for your career. I love to see you shine. I love to see you in your element. You're an extremely smart, talented woman. Your star shines so brightly, and I love being near you because I feel like as myself, I can also shine and thrive with you. And I just want to see you continue to climb in your career and continue to achieve all these great things and really tap into your potential because you're a remarkable woman. And I'm paraphrasing, but the speech that he gave her, it was beautiful. I loved it. Like, it was 10s across the board. It was just this beautiful romantic declaration. And I was like, well, where was this in the show? And I was so enamored with it, and I was like, this is exactly what I love in romance. I love it when, you know, you can do these really great grandiose speeches and, you know, pluck at the heartstrings, and the music swells, and I was totally hook, line, and sinker. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this show is turning the corner for the better. And then you'll have a scene where, you know, she was almost assaulted by a gang of men because she went out at night just to grab a quick bite to eat. And then he essentially victim blames her, and it's like, well, why are you going out looking so pretty? Like, if you weren't dressed like that. And it's like, my guy, are you victim blaming her? Like, are you shaming her for how she dresses? Are you insinuating that if something untoward was to happen towards her, it would be her fault because of how she dressed? You know what I mean? Like, this show like the show, like the few moments where it's really cute, I get why it's so popular, and then the other moments will happen and it's like, this show is so incredibly infuriating to watch. Like, I don't know if any of you are listening, like, have you ever watched a show where it's like there's parts of it you can really vibe with and gel with, and there's things that you genuinely like, but there's so much that you want to criticize, and you're like, why the hell am I putting myself through this still? And you just keep going and going. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Me and this show, I know I should probably just drop it at this point. Like, I dropped it for several months for a reason, and I'm still going back and I'm picking it up. But there's something there, and it's almost like I'm at the point now where I'm determined to see it all the way through, because I've invested this much goddamn time that I have to see it through. So this is my episode about Only for Love again. This damn show. I can't quit you. No matter how hard I try, I just can't quit you. I just keep going back, and I keep getting infuriated, and then I'm also entranced, and then there's things I like, and then I just get back to being irritated again. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm at episode 26, and I'll be honest with you, like, I actually really want to get back to watching it, like, right after filming this. So you can let me know your thoughts down below. I've had a couple of folks here and there when I've posted other podcasts about Only for Love, not necessarily criticize me, but kind of say, in a way, like, what's your problem? It's not that serious. It's just a silly little romance. It's just an idol drama. Why are you digging so deeply into it? It isn't something that needs to be that deeply analyzed, and I get where you're coming from, but this is kind of fun for me. I like analyzing what I watch, and yeah, if there are themes, even if it's an idol drama, even if it's coming from another source material and it's not supposed to be taken seriously, yeah, there's elements in this show that I think deserve to get some criticism and some critique, you know? And I think in some places it actually kind of wastes the actors and the caliber of their talent in it. I mean, obviously it's got something right. It is extremely popular for a reason. And yeah, there are definitely moments where I like watching the two main leads interact, you know, and I enjoy, as I said, Eric in the show as well, who plays Xing Wang in Only One and plays the second male lead in this show. You know, there's moments where even the third couple, and just how awkward and uncomfortable and pick-me-ish that entire storyline is, there's still moments of sweetness in that as well that I enjoy, that keeps me coming back to it. So, you know what, just you let me know your thoughts below if the spirit moves you. If you're watching this via YouTube, the video portion of it. If you're listening via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I appreciate you listening to my insane ramblings about this damn show.